Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you push, how many hours you grind, or how many goals you set, an invisible wall keeps pulling you back to exactly where you started? You read the books, you execute the strategies, yet your bank account, your relationships, and your peace of mind remain stuck in the exact same loop. It's exhausting, and frankly, it makes you feel like you're just not meant for success. But what if the problem isn't your effort? What if the problem is your programming? Right now, a silent, invisible force is dictating 95% of your daily decisions, your habits, and your financial reality. It's not your conscious will, it's your subconscious mind. Think of it as a supercomputer running in the background. If that computer is programmed with scarcity, fear, or self-doubt, it will ruthlessly sabotage every single conscious effort you make to get ahead. You are quite literally fighting a losing battle against your own brain. But imagine if you could rewrite that code. Imagine if your deepest mind automatically attracted wealth, health, and absolute clarity, even while you slept. Welcome to the definitive breakdown of the power of your subconscious mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. This isn't just abstract philosophy, it is a practical blueprint that has unlocked the hidden potential of millions worldwide. Today, we are stripping away the fluff to give you the exact, actionable tools to reprogram your mental software. If you are ready to stop fighting the current and finally unlock your master key to success, listen closely. The next few minutes might just change everything. Let's dive straight into Chapter 1. A magnetized piece of steel can lift 12 times its own weight. Strip that same steel of its magnetism, and it will not lift so much as a single feather. Every single day, millions of people grind themselves to the bone chasing wealth, success, and validation from the outside world. They look for answers in new strategies, longer hours, and external networks, completely blind to a staggering reality. The ultimate treasure house of infinite riches, health, and genius is already sitting right inside them. Your external life is not a product of luck or circumstance. It is an exact physical projection of your subconscious programming. You do not need to acquire power. You simply need to learn how to unleash the infinite intelligence that is already hardwired into your psychological DNA. To ground this mind-bending concept, let us look at two distinct types of people that define the human condition: the magnetized man versus the unmagnetized man. Imagine two entrepreneurs entering the exact same market at the exact same time with the exact same capital. The unmagnetized man is paralyzed by a subtle underlying current of fear and self-doubt. When an opportunity presents itself, his immediate subconscious reflex is defensive. He thinks, what if I lose everything? What if people laugh at me? I might fail. Because his inner blueprint is hardwired for scarcity, his subconscious mind ruthlessly sabotages his execution. He misses cues, hesitates during critical negotiations, and ultimately fulfills his own prophecy of failure. The magnetized man, by contrast, operates from a state of absolute, unwavering faith and psychological certainty. He does not just hope for success, he expects it. He understands that his mind is a broadcast tower. Because his subconscious is programmed with confidence and victory, it constantly scans his environment for solutions, matches him with the right partners, and transforms obstacles into raw leverage. The breakthrough moment occurs when you realize that magnetism is not an accidental genetic trait, it is a learned state of mind. By shifting your internal polarity from fear to faith, you instantly change what you attract into your physical reality. To understand how this works, we have to look at the mechanics of your internal supercomputer. The greatest power in the universe isn't nuclear energy or advanced technology, it is the miraculous power of your subconscious mind. Most people live entirely in the conscious world, the mere 5% of the iceberg that sits above the water. True masters tap into the 95% below the surface. Your subconscious mind is completely impersonal and non-selective. It does not argue, judge, or analyze. It behaves like fertile soil. It will grow weeds or roses with equal efficiency based entirely on the seeds of thought you drop into it. So stop begging the world for outcomes. Start commanding your subconscious to produce them. Think about the shift you need to make. Instead of saying, "I can't afford that luxury item or business investment," switch to, "My subconscious mind will provide the means to make this happen." Instead of believing that good things never last and something always goes wrong, know that you are hardwired for continuous abundance and success. You are the programmer, and your mind is the software. Your subconscious mind is connected to a boundless reservoir of knowledge, vitality, and creative power. It is the force that automatically beats your heart, digests your food, and heals your wounds without a single conscious thought. If this internal intelligence knows exactly how to heal a physical cut on your finger, it also knows exactly how to heal a broken bank account or a failing relationship. You must step out of your own way and let it work. To bridge the gap between abstract theory and real-world results, you can use the Nighttime Infiltration Technique. This 5-minute micro-exercise takes advantage of the hyper-receptive state of your brain right before you fall asleep, when the barrier between your conscious and subconscious mind is thinnest. First, immobilize the analytical mind. Lie down in bed and deliberately relax your entire body. Slow your breathing. Enter a drowsy, meditative, or sleepy state where your conscious logic steps aside. Second, plant the target outcome. Do not waste words arguing with your reality. Condense your ultimate desire into a short, high-impact phrase that implies the goal is already achieved. You can use phrases like, "Success is mine now," "Perfect health fills my body," or "Wealth flows to me endlessly." Third, flood the thought with emotion. Repeat your chosen phrase over and over like a lullaby. Do not just say the words, feel the relief and joy of the completed result. Fall asleep wrapped in that emotional state. Let your subconscious run the script all night long. Remember this golden nugget. You are a living magnet, and your life will always be an exact reflection of the thoughts you choose to feed into your subconscious engine room. Now that you know you possess a literal gold mine inside your own mind, a critical question remains. How do you stop the conscious mind from accidentally letting negative thoughts slip through the gate and wrecking your life? In the next chapter, we will unlock the exact conversational bridge between your two minds, revealing how to masterfully command your brain so it never works against you again. Imagine walking into your own home, only to find a total stranger sitting on your couch, eating your food, and completely rewriting your house rules. You would never allow that in the physical world, yet every single day, millions of people let random comments, media headlines, and negative opinions walk right into their minds and dictate their entire lives. Welcome to Chapter 2 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, where we break down the exact inner workings of your mental machinery and discover how to control the ultimate gatekeeper of your reality. The core truth of this chapter is a game changer. Your subconscious mind is a blind giant that obeys every single order it receives, which means your only real job in life is to become a ruthless guard at the gates of your own thoughts. To see this mechanism in action, let us look at a fascinating psychological experiment that takes place on a cruise ship. Imagine a mischievous passenger walks up to a timid, pale-looking traveler and says, "Oh dear, you look terribly ill. Your face is green. I can see you are about to become violently seasick. Let me help you to your cabin." Within minutes, the timid traveler actually begins to feel nauseous.
His face loses color, he starts trembling, and he willingly goes down to his room, fully experiencing seasickness.
Now, imagine that same mischievous passenger walks up to an experienced, hardened sailor and says the exact same words. "You look terribly green. You are about to get seasick." What happens? The sailor laughs out loud, cracks a joke about the beautiful weather, and walks away completely unaffected. Same input, identical words, but two completely opposite results. Why? Because the timid passenger allowed the external suggestion to pass through his guard, while the sailor had a ruthless watchman at the gate who immediately rejected the poison. This brings us to the core mechanism of how your mind actually works. You do not have two separate minds. You have one mind that functions in two distinct ways. Think of your conscious mind as the captain standing on the deck of a massive ship. The captain looks through the binoculars, judges the weather, gauges the distance, and makes the decisions. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, represents the crew working deep down in the engine room. The crew cannot see where the ship is going. They cannot argue with the captain, and they are not allowed to say no. If the captain gives an order to turn directly into a dangerous reef, the engine room blindly executes that command.
Your subconscious mind behaves exactly like that loyal, blind engine room crew. It is completely incapable of taking a joke, it cannot analyze data, and it cannot talk back to you. If your conscious mind accepts a thought as true, your subconscious immediately goes to work to manufacture that exact reality. When you constantly tell yourself, "I will never break through this financial ceiling," or "I always mess up important meetings," your conscious mind is effectively handing a blueprint of failure to the engine room, and the engine room will ruthlessly assemble that failure for you. To take back total control of this operating system, you must implement the active counter-command technique. This is a practical, immediate tool you can use whenever you face a negative suggestion from the outside world or a limiting thought from within.
The process requires you to execute two sharp moves. First, the moment you hear or think something negative, you must consciously label it as a false suggestion. Do not argue with it, do not emotionally react to it, and do not let it sit in your mind. Mentally shout the words, "Cancel, cancel." Second, you must immediately issue an assertive counter-command that is the exact opposite of the negative thought. If someone says to you, "The economy is crashing and your business is going to suffer," your internal guard must instantly say, "My business operates on a higher law of abundance, and I prosper in any economic climate." You must replace the poison with the medicine before it sinks into the engine room. Remember this golden nugget. Your subconscious mind does not argue with you. It only accepts and executes what your conscious mind decrees as the absolute truth. Now that you understand the dual nature of your mental operating system and how to act as a ruthless watchman at the gate, an even bigger secret awaits. Your subconscious mind does not just control your habits and thoughts, it holds a literal blueprint for your physical body and health. In the next chapter, we will look deep into the miracle-working power of your subconscious, revealing how to use this exact same mental programming to heal physical illness, boost your natural vitality, and unlock an explosive surge of daily energy.
If you accidentally cut your finger right now, you do not have to sit down, open a medical textbook, and consciously direct your white blood cells to fight infection, clot the blood, and knit the skin back together. You do not even have to think about it. An invisible, hyper-intelligent force instantly takes over, executing millions of complex chemical reactions with flawless precision. Yet when it comes to larger challenges like chronic fatigue, high stress, or physical illness, we panic, run to external remedies, and completely forget about the miraculous laboratory running inside us. Welcome to Chapter 3 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are unlocking the miracle-working power of your deepest psyche and discovering how to activate the ultimate self-healing mechanism wired directly into your body.
The core truth of this chapter will alter how you look at your physical health forever. Your subconscious mind is the original master builder of your physical body, and because it built your body, it possesses the absolute, flawless blueprint for your perfect health, boundless vitality, and cellular renewal. To see this profound power in action, let us look at a compelling real-world case study of a man who faced a devastating medical diagnosis. He was suffering from a severe, progressive lung condition that left him constantly breathless, weak, and unable to work. The medical specialists told him that his lungs were deeply scarred and that there was very little modern medicine could do to reverse the damage. He was trapped in a nightmare of physical decay and despair. But instead of accepting this death sentence, he had a massive epiphany. He realized that if his subconscious mind could build his entire body from a single cell in his mother's womb, it certainly knew how to repair a pair of damaged lungs.
He decided to direct a mini movie in his own mind. Every single day, multiple times a day, he would sit in a quiet chair, relax his body completely, and close his eyes. He would vividly imagine his doctor walking into the examination room, holding a brand new set of X-rays and saying with a look of pure astonishment, "It is a miracle. Your lungs are completely clear and healthy." The man did not just picture the scene, he felt the cold texture of the doctor's desk, heard the exact tone of the doctor's voice, and flooded his entire nervous system with the overwhelming relief of being completely cured. He repeated this exact mental movie every single night before falling asleep. Within a few short months, the psychological blueprint replaced the physical damage. He went back to the hospital for a routine checkup, and the doctors were utterly baffled. The scarring was gone, his lung capacity had completely restored, and his body was functioning perfectly. His mental movie had become his physical reality. This incredible transformation happens because of how your internal systems are hardwired. There are three foundational pillars to this biological miracle. First, your subconscious mind is the absolute ruler of your involuntary functions. It controls your heartbeat, regulates your blood circulation, manages your digestion, and handles your breathing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without a single moment of rest. It never sleeps and it never takes a vacation. If you had to consciously remind your heart to beat or your lungs to expand, you would not survive for an hour. This proves that there is an infinite intelligence operating beneath your conscious awareness that is completely dedicated to keeping you alive and thriving. Second, harmony is the natural law of life, while disease is an unnatural distortion. Your body's default factory setting is perfect health and wholeness. Sickness only enters the equation when you introduce mental friction into the system. When you constantly feed your conscious mind with thoughts of fear, intense worry, jealousy, or bitterness, you are effectively sending chaotic, poisonous signals down into your subconscious engine room. These negative emotional currents disrupt the natural rhythm of your organs, compromise your immune system, and manifest as physical illness. You do not catch a disease, you mentally invite it by disrupting your body's natural harmony. Third, you must apply the principle of least effort when it comes to healing. Most people make the critical mistake of trying to force a physical recovery through sheer willpower and intense mental struggle. But the harder you fight an illness consciously, the more power you actually give to the idea of the illness in your subconscious. You cannot bully your body into getting better. Instead, you must completely give up the struggle, quiet your analytical mind, and confidently hand the problem over to the infinite healing intelligence within you, knowing with absolute certainty that it will execute the job perfectly. To immediately apply this theory to your own life and supercharge your physical vitality, you can use the daily cellular reset technique.
This is a pragmatic, plug-and-play process you can run whenever you feel physically exhausted, stressed, or under the weather.
First, you must quiet your physical body. Sit or lie down in a completely quiet room. Close your eyes and tell your muscles to relax. Speak to your body as if it were a loyal friend. Mentally say to your feet, your hands, and your shoulders, "Let go and relax." Do this until you feel a deep wave of tranquility wash over you. Second, you must issue a clear, authoritative decree to your subconscious mind. Do not beg or plead. Speak with the quiet confidence of a captain giving an order to a trusted crew. Say these words out loud or clearly in your mind. My subconscious mind built my body and is now restoring it to its perfect, natural state. Every cell, nerve, tissue, and organ is being completely renewed, energized, and healed right now. Divine harmony flows through me. Third, you must completely release the thought and enter a state of gratitude. Do not check your symptoms every 5 minutes, and do not worry about how the healing will happen. Simply feel the profound thankfulness of a person who has already received a perfect cure, and let that emotion carry you through the rest of your day. Remember this golden nugget. Your subconscious mind is the master builder of your physical body, and it carries the perfect blueprint to repair, renew, and heal any condition the moment you stop interfering with its work. Now that you know how to tap into this incredible laboratory of physical healing, a fascinating new question arises. If our minds hold this much raw power over our physical flesh, what happens when we look back at the ancient world? How did ancient civilizations perform miraculous healings long before modern science, doctors, or hospitals even existed? In the next chapter, we will take a thrilling journey into the history of mental medicine, revealing the hidden psychological mechanics behind the world's most famous miracles, and showing you how to replicate those exact ancient secrets to manifest breakthroughs in your life today.
Imagine traveling back thousands of years in time. You walk into a dimly lit, smoke-filled ancient temple, surrounded by thousands of desperate people. They are touching old bones, drinking water from secret springs, and chanting mystic words. Suddenly, a blind man opens his eyes. A lame woman stands up and walks. For centuries, humanity looked at these events and called them magic, witchcraft, or divine intervention. But what if the ancient priests discovered a psychological backdoor into the human brain that modern science is only beginning to understand? Welcome to Chapter 4 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are stripping away the mysticism of the ancient world to reveal the raw, naked science behind history's greatest miracles. The core truth of this chapter will completely shatter your reliance on external tools. The ancient gods, the magical relics, and the holy waters never possessed any independent power to heal. Every single miracle in human history was triggered by one thing and one thing only: the absolute, blind faith of the individual, activating the limitless power of their own subconscious mind. To understand how this cross-generational power works, let us look at a profound story from the past that perfectly exposes the mechanism of ancient healing. There was a father whose young daughter was dying of a devastating, painful illness. The medical treatments of his time had completely failed, and he was consumed by grief. One day, a traveling peddler arrived in his village. Sensing the father's desperation, the peddler handed him a small, ordinary splinter of wood found on the side of the road. The peddler lied and told the father that this piece of wood was a highly sacred relic taken directly from a holy cross that possessed miraculous healing properties. The father did not doubt the story for a single second. He took the cheap piece of wood home, handed it to his dying daughter, and told her with absolute fiery conviction that touching this sacred relic would cure her instantly. The young girl believed her father completely.
She clutched the splinter of wood to her chest, closed her eyes, and fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. By the next morning, the fever had vanished, the pain was gone, and she stood up, entirely cured.
Now, ask yourself the ultimate question. Did a random piece of wood heal that little girl? Absolutely not. The wood was completely powerless. The miracle occurred because the father's intense conviction created a massive, unbreakable wave of suggestion. The girl's conscious mind completely dropped its guard, accepting the suggestion of health as an absolute fact. The moment her subconscious mind received that blueprint of total recovery, it instantly deployed its internal chemistry to heal her body overnight. The power was never in the object. The power was entirely in her belief. Dr. Murphy breaks down this ancient phenomenon into 3 timeless principles that you can use today. First, faith is the universal solvent of human limitation. The subconscious mind does not care whether the object of your faith is real or false. It does not analyze the relic, the modern placebo pill, or the ritual. It simply responds to the psychological state of the person praying or wishing. If you believe with absolute certainty that something will change your life, your subconscious mind will blindly execute that change, regardless of the objective truth behind your belief.
Second, ancient rituals were designed to bypass the critical watchman at the gate. The ancient priests used elaborate ceremonies, intense incantations, and dramatic environments for a very specific reason. They wanted to overwhelm the analytical, logical conscious mind. When your conscious mind is mesmerized or quieted by a powerful ritual, it stops arguing, doubts disappear, and the door to the subconscious mind swings wide open. This is why hypnosis, meditation, and ancient temple rituals produce identical psychological results. They all create a direct pipeline to the engine room. Third, there is only one process of healing, and that is faith. There is only one healing power, and that is your subconscious mind. It does not matter if you follow ancient Eastern philosophies, Western traditions, or modern psychological practices. The labels change, but the operating system remains exactly the same. When you remove the cultural armor and the religious terminology, every breakthrough throughout human history relies on the exact same mental mechanics. To harness this ancient miracle-working power in your modern life, you must implement the psychological anchor technique. You do not need an ancient temple or a piece of wood to trigger a breakthrough. You can create your own mental trigger right now.
First, you must choose your anchor. This can be a short phrase, a specific physical gesture like pressing your fingers together, or an object you hold in your hand. Second, you must load the anchor with intense emotional data. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and bring your ultimate goal into your mind. Whether it is a massive financial breakthrough or perfect physical health, feel the exact joy and relief of having it right now. While you are at the peak of that emotional state, activate your anchor by repeating your phrase or holding your object. Do this repeatedly until your brain associates that anchor with absolute success. Third, you must deploy the anchor whenever doubt creeps in. The moment your logical mind tries to tell you that you cannot succeed, fire your anchor. Your subconscious will instantly recall the emotional state of victory, override the negative thought, and align your reality with your deepest desires. Remember this golden nugget. The miracles of the ancient world were not violations of natural law. They were the perfect demonstration of the subconscious mind responding to absolute faith. Now that you know how ancient civilizations used blind faith to unlock psychological miracles, a critical piece of the puzzle remains. How do we take this raw, ancient power and translate it into the modern world of science and psychology? How do modern doctors, therapists, and peak performers systematically replicate these results without the ancient smoke and mirrors? In the next chapter, we will look deep into modern mental healing, revealing the exact scientific protocols used today to program the mind for explosive success and unshakable health. Imagine walking into a state-of-the-art modern hospital, surrounded by advanced neuroimaging machines, sterile labs, and the world's leading medical experts. For decades, we believed that science and spirituality were fighting a bitter war. We assumed that the miraculous healings of the past belonged strictly to ancient folklore. But right now, in the world's most elite research institutions, a stunning realization is taking hold. Double-blind clinical trials and neuroscience are finally proving what the ancient mystics always knew. Modern mental healing is not a religious miracle, a mystical secret, or an accident of luck. It is a precise, repeatable psychological science. Welcome to Chapter 5 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are pulling mental therapy out of the shadows of superstition and placing it directly into the light of modern scientific protocol. The core truth of this chapter will completely change how you approach your personal breakthroughs. There is only one healing power in the entire universe, and it is your subconscious mind. Modern mental healing is simply the scientific method of removing the conscious friction so that your internal operating system can do the job it was already designed to do. To see how modern science systematically weaponizes this power, let us look at a famous clinical experiment conducted by Dr. Hippolyte Bernheim, a visionary French physician. Bernheim wanted to prove that the human body does not respond to physical medicine the way we think it does, but rather to the psychological suggestion behind the medicine. In his clinic, Bernheim took an ordinary, completely blank postage stamp and applied it to the back of a patient. He then looked the patient dead in the eye and issued a powerful, authoritative suggestion. He said, "This is a highly potent medicated plaster that will create a fiery sensation and form a physical blister on your skin within a few hours." What happened next shocked the medical community. The patient was not hypnotized, he was completely awake. Yet, because he trusted the doctor's authority, his conscious mind dropped its skepticism and accepted the suggestion as an absolute clinical fact. Within hours, a genuine physical blister appeared on his back, exactly where the blank stamp had been placed. His subconscious mind had received a specific behavioral blueprint, and it immediately deployed the body's localized inflammatory response to manufacture a physical blister out of thin air. This experiment proved to the modern world that the subjective mind is completely cooperative and will physically execute any command it genuinely accepts as true. Dr. Murphy breaks down this modern scientific protocol into 3 foundational principles. First, you must understand the difference between the objective mind and the subjective mind. Your objective mind is your conscious mind, which perceives the physical world through your 5 senses and learns through observation and logic. Your subjective mind is your subconscious, which perceives through intuition, stores your memories, and controls your biological functions. Modern mental healing occurs when your objective mind completely stops arguing, stops worrying about medical statistics, and systematically hands a clear, positive directive over to the subjective mind. Second, the placebo effect is the ultimate proof of modern mental science. Every single year, pharmaceutical companies spend millions of dollars testing new drugs against sugar pills called placebos. Time and time again, thousands of patients completely heal their chronic pain, anxiety, and physical illnesses by taking nothing but a useless sugar pill simply because they believed they were receiving a powerful cure. Modern science calls this the placebo effect, but Dr. Murphy reveals its true identity. The sugar pill possesses 0 power. The healing is entirely produced by the patient's subjective mind responding to the suggestion of health. Third, true modern healing requires scientific prayer. To the average person, prayer means begging a distant deity in the sky for a favor, while secretly doubting if it will ever happen. But scientific prayer is an engineering protocol. It is the conscious, deliberate targeting of a specific desire, combining it with intense emotion, and repeating it until it becomes a subjective reality. It is not about begging for a miracle, it is about confidently commanding your subconscious mind to execute a specific outcome based on unchanging psychological laws. To immediately deploy this modern scientific protocol to heal your finances, your career, or your physical body, you can use the Scientific Affirmation Protocol. This is a highly pragmatic tool designed to bypass your logical skepticism and hardwire success directly into your brain. First, you must formulate your clinical script. Choose a specific area of your life that is currently failing or blocked and write down a one-sentence affirmation that states the exact opposite as an already accomplished fact. Do not use vague or overly emotional language. Keep it direct, clean, and professional. For example, you can write, "Divine intelligence guides my business decisions, and explosive financial prosperity is my permanent reality." Second, you must completely neutralize your logical resistance. Sit in a comfortable chair, close your eyes, and enter a state of total physical stillness. The best time to do this is when you're slightly tired or relaxed. When your analytical mind is quiet, it cannot argue with your script. Third, you must deliver the affirmation with absolute psychological certainty. Repeat your script slowly and deliberately for 5 full minutes. Do not just chant the words like a robot. You must mentally accept the statement as an undeniable truth, just like the patient accepted the doctor's postage stamp. Do this twice a day and watch how fast your external reality shifts to match your inner script. Remember this golden nugget. Modern mental healing is a precise psychological science, and your subconscious mind will always physically manufacture whatever blueprint your conscious mind confidently decrees as the absolute truth. Now that you know how modern science validates the incredible power of your subconscious mind, an essential question remains. What are the exact step-by-step techniques that top therapists, mental healers, and peak performers use to guarantee these results every single time? How do you choose the perfect mental tool for your specific problem? In the next chapter, we will unlock the practical techniques of mental therapy, providing you with a complete plug-and-play toolkit to masterfully program your mind for unstoppable success, wealth, and absolute freedom. Imagine being handed the keys to a high-performance sports car, but you have no idea how to operate the gear shift or steer the wheel. You would end up crashing or sitting completely still, despite all that raw horsepower underneath the hood. This is exactly how most people approach their minds. They know the subconscious possesses infinite power, but they lack the exact blueprints to program it. Welcome to Chapter 6 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are moving away from abstract theory and diving straight into the practical mechanics of mental engineering. The core truth of this chapter is a massive wake-up call. Your subconscious mind does not respond to random hope or desperate wishes. It responds to specific, practical techniques that systematically bypass your doubts and deliver your desires directly to the engine room. To understand how a precise technique can create a physical miracle, let us look at the story of a brilliant young woman who found herself trapped in a medical nightmare. She had developed a severe, painful condition in her gallbladder that required immediate, high-risk surgery. She was terrified of the operation and deeply broke, with no way to afford the massive medical bills. Instead of panicking, she decided to deploy a highly specific mental protocol called the thank you technique. Every single day for 10 consecutive days, she would isolate herself in a quiet room, close her eyes, and systematically relax her entire body until she reached a drowsy, sleepy state. She didn't pray for the pain to stop, and she didn't beg for money. Instead, she played a single, powerful phrase over and over in her mind like a soothing lullaby. "Thank you, Father, for my healing." She focused entirely on the profound feeling of gratitude, imagining how a person would actually feel after a successful recovery. On the 11th day, she went back to the hospital for a final pre-surgery examination. The doctors took a new set of scans and stared at the results in absolute disbelief. The inflammation had completely vanished, the gallbladder was perfectly healthy, and the surgery was canceled. Her precise emotional technique had rewritten her biological reality. This incredible breakthrough proves that you must use specific tools to communicate with your inner mind. Dr. Murphy outlines several master techniques that top performers use to guarantee results. The first is the mental movie method. Your subconscious mind thinks entirely in vivid pictures and images, not in written words. If you want to change your life, you must act as the director of your own mind. You must sit quietly, close your eyes, and play a short, high-definition movie of your ideal outcome. If you want a promotion, do not picture yourself working hard. Instead, picture your boss shaking your hand, congratulating you, and handing you the new contract. Feel the texture of the paper and hear the congratulations until your brain accepts it as a current fact. The second tool is the Baudouin technique, named after a famous French psychotherapist. Charles Baudouin discovered that the easiest way to program the subconscious is to condense your ultimate goal into a very short phrase, no more than 3 or 4 words, that can be easily memorized and repeated without any mental effort. When you enter a drowsy, sleepy state right before bed, your analytical mind steps aside. By repeating a simple phrase like, "It is solved now," or "Divine wealth is mine," over and over again, you completely saturate your subjective mind with the reality of success, forcing it to manifest in your waking life. The third tool is the affirmative method, which completely contrasts the old, broken way of praying. The wrong mindset approaches the mind with desperation, saying, "Please make me rich," or "Please heal me," which only reinforces the idea of poverty and sickness in the engine room. The correct scientific mindset uses bold, affirmative statements of truth. You must understand that when you affirm a truth, you are stating that the condition already exists in the invisible spiritual realm. By boldly claiming, "Health is mine," or "Prosperity is flowing to me right now," you eliminate all internal arguments and force your subconscious to align your physical world with your spoken word. To immediately apply these practical tools to your own life, you must master the Passover method. This is a 3-step protocol designed to give your desires completely over to your subconscious mind without any conscious interference. First, you must clearly define your specific problem or desire. Write it down in one clean sentence so your mind has total clarity. Second, you must deliberately relax and enter a quiet meditative state, shutting out all external distractions and silencing your analytical doubts. Third, you must completely pass the problem over to your subconscious mind. Mentally say to yourself, "I am handing this situation over to the infinite intelligence within me, knowing it has the perfect solution." Once you pass it over, you must completely drop the worry. Walk away. Stop thinking about how it will happen and let the master builder execute the order. Remember this golden nugget. Practical mental techniques are the steering wheel of your subconscious mind, and whoever masters the technique controls the entire direction of their life. Now that you possess a complete practical toolkit to program your mind for explosive success and perfect health, a profound question arises. What is the fundamental underlying drive behind this entire operating system? If we leave the mind alone, does it naturally drift toward failure? Or is it secretly hardwired to support us? In the next chapter, we will unlock the ultimate tendency of the subconscious mind, revealing the invisible, life-giving current that is constantly working to protect you, elevate you, and keep you thriving forever. Think about a tiny, fragile seed trapped beneath a thick sheet of solid concrete. It does not have muscles, it does not have an engineering degree, and it does not have a conscious plan. Yet it slowly, relentlessly cracks through the heavy stone and pushes its way up toward the sunlight. Why? Because there is an unstoppable, invisible force woven into the fabric of the universe that is always pushing toward growth, expansion, and life. Welcome to Chapter 7 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are discovering the ultimate bias of your inner mind and unlocking the life-giving current that is constantly fighting for your success, even when you are asleep. The core truth of this chapter is deeply comforting. Your subconscious mind does not naturally drift toward failure, sickness, or poverty. Its absolute fundamental tendency is lifeward, meaning it is permanently hardwired to protect you, heal you, and elevate your reality to a state of perfect harmony. To understand the raw power of this lifeward tendency, let us look at the remarkable case of a world-renowned surgeon who noticed something strange during his decades of operating on thousands of patients. He observed that no matter how brilliant a surgeon might be or how advanced the medical equipment was, the doctor could only do about 5% of the physical work. The surgeon could stitch the skin, align the bones, and clear the infection. But once the patient was wheeled out of the operating room, the surgeon had to step back and hand the patient over to an invisible force. He realized that it was the patient's subconscious mind that actually performed the real miracle of healing, weaving millions of new cells together and restoring the body to wholeness. One day, a man was brought to his clinic with a severe, life-threatening condition that left his vital organs failing. The conscious prognosis was grim, and the patient was paralyzed by terror. The surgeon knew that this intense fear was actively blocking the natural life current. He sat by the man's bedside and told him, "You must stop trying to fight this with your conscious will. Instead, simply picture a great, clean river of pure vitality washing away all the debris in your body." The man listened, closed his eyes, and mentally surrendered his body to the natural flow of life. He stopped worrying about the medical charts and focused entirely on the image of that healing river. Within days, the life force responded to his mental permission. His vital signs stabilized, his organs began to repair themselves, and he made a full, shocking recovery. The breakthrough happened because he stopped forcing his own survival and simply allowed the natural, lifeward current of his subconscious mind to flow without interference. This profound alignment is possible because of how your internal blueprint is designed. Over 90% of your mental life takes place beneath the surface of your conscious awareness. While your conscious mind is busy worrying about bills, schedules, and social media, your subconscious is quietly running a massive multi-trillion cell enterprise. It watches over your body with obsessive care. It manages the continuous chemical factory inside your organs, regulates your temperature, and builds brand new cells every single second. In fact, modern science confirms that your body completely replaces almost all of its physical cells every 11 months. This means you do not have the same body today that you had a year ago. You are literally being rebuilt from scratch right now. If your subconscious is constantly rebuilding your body, why do people still get sick, age prematurely, or remain stuck in poverty? Sickness, lack, and limitation are not natural states. They are artificial roadblocks created by your conscious mind. When you indulge in chronic fear, deep jealousy, or toxic worry, you are essentially throwing a massive wrench into the gears of a perfectly running engine. You are sending chaotic, destructive blueprints down to the master builder, forcing it to construct a reality of decay instead of growth. The subconscious mind will never actively initiate a negative condition. It only manufactures negativity when you consciously force it to do so. To stop this internal sabotage and completely align yourself with the lifeward current, you must practice the mental surrender technique. This is a practical daily tool to clear the mental traffic jams and let your natural power flow freely. First, you must consciously recognize the interference. Whenever you catch yourself spiraling into worry or feeling overwhelmed by a problem, stop immediately and mentally say the words, "I step out of the way." Do not try to analyze how you will solve the issue with your limited conscious logic. Second, you must shift your focus entirely to the principle of growth. Close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and quietly remind yourself that the infinite intelligence within you already knows the perfect solution. Say to yourself, "The life force within me is moving me toward perfect health, harmony, and abundance right now." Third, you must completely release the struggle. Imagine handing a complex legal contract over to a brilliant elite attorney. Once you give it to them, You do not sit there and worry about how they will do their job. You trust their expertise and go about your day. Do the same with your mind. Trust the master builder. Feel the relief of being taken care of and let the lifeward tendency do the heavy lifting for you.
Remember this golden nugget. Your subconscious mind is a river of continuous life, and its only desire is to bring you more abundance, greater health, and ultimate freedom the moment you stop blocking the current. Now that you understand the unstoppable, life-giving momentum of your deeper mind, a practical challenge arises. What happens when we try to use these techniques, but we do not get the results we want? Why do some people visualize and affirm for weeks, only to find themselves facing the exact same blocks? In the next chapter, we will unlock the precise reasons behind mental failure, revealing the critical mistakes that destroy your manifestations and showing you how to guarantee that your subconscious mind answers your commands every single time. Imagine walking across a wooden plank sitting flat on your living room floor. It is incredibly easy, and you can do it without a single second of hesitation. Now, take that exact same wooden plank and suspend it 100 feet in the air between two massive skyscrapers. Suddenly, your heart races, your palms sweat, and your entire body freezes in sheer terror. You have the exact same physical ability to walk that line, so why are you paralyzed? It is because your conscious willpower is screaming, "I must force myself to walk straight," while your subconscious imagination is screaming, "I am going to fall and crash." In this battle, your willpower loses every single time. Welcome to Chapter 8 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we're breaking down the exact reason why your prayers, your affirmations, and your visualizations fail, and unlocking the secret to getting your mind to deliver your results every single time. The core truth of this chapter is a shocking paradox. The reason you are not hitting your biggest goals is not because you lack effort, it is because you are trying too hard. The harder you try to force your subconscious mind to work, the more you lock your failures into place. To see this psychological trap in action, let us look at a universal human experience that perfectly illustrates the law of reversed effort. Think about a brilliant student who has spent weeks studying for a massive, career-defining examination. He knows the material inside and out, and he is completely qualified to pass. But the moment he sits down in the exam room, a wave of intense anxiety hits him. He looks at the first question, and his mind goes completely blank. Panic sets in. He begins to use intense willpower, gritting his teeth and forcing his brain to remember the answers. But the harder he tries to force it, the further the information recedes into the shadows. He finishes the exam defeated, feeling like an absolute failure. Then, the breakthrough moment happens. The moment he steps out of the exam room, walks into the fresh air, and completely gives up the struggle, his mind relaxes. Suddenly, all the missing answers flood back into his awareness with perfect clarity. He didn't learn new information in those 5 minutes. His intense conscious effort had simply locked the door to his subconscious database. The moment he stopped forcing it, the door swung open. This mental blockage happens because of a fundamental psychological law discovered by the famous French psychotherapist Charles Baudouin. It is called the Law of Reversed Effort. This law states that whenever your desire and your imagination are in conflict, your imagination will invariably win the day. When you say to yourself, "I want to be wealthy," but your imagination is constantly painting pictures of unpaid bills, debt, and financial lack, your subconscious mind ignores your conscious words entirely. It blindly follows the vivid emotional pictures in your imagination. Most people make the critical mistake of using mental coercion. They try to bully their subconscious mind by using sheer willpower. They chant affirmations like a drill sergeant, shouting, "I am rich, I am successful," while their inner mind is whispering, "No, you are not, you are completely broke." This internal conflict creates a massive counter-suggestion in the engine room. Your subconscious does not respond to the words you say, it responds to what you actually feel to be true.
When you try to force a belief, you are unconsciously highlighting the fact that you do not have it, which means you are actually programming your mind for deeper failure.
To completely eliminate this internal friction and guarantee that your mind produces the exact results you want, you must implement the effortless acceptance technique. This is a pragmatic, three-step framework designed to bypass the willpower trap and plant your desires directly into the engine room without a single ounce of struggle. First, you must adopt a passive, non-resistant attitude. Stop fighting your current reality and stop arguing with your doubts. Sit quietly in a comfortable chair or lie down in bed right before sleep. Close your eyes and deliberately relax your muscles until your physical body feels heavy and still. You want to enter a drowsy, sleepy state where your conscious mind lowers its guard and stops analyzing everything. Second, you must focus entirely on the end result, never on the process. Do not waste a single second worrying about how your goal will happen, what steps you need to take, or where the money will come from. Simply leap over all the obstacles in your mind and land directly at the finish line. See the completed outcome as an accomplished fact.
Third, you must condense your goal into a short, effortless phrase and repeat it like a lullaby. Do not use phrases that require force or logic. Use simple words that convey total completion and relief, such as, "It is finished now," or "Divine harmony is mine." Repeat this phrase over and over, gently and quietly, until your entire nervous system is saturated with the profound emotional relief of victory. Fall asleep inside that feeling. By removing the conscious struggle, you allow the infinite intelligence within you to take the blueprint and execute it flawlessly. Remember this golden nugget. Your subconscious mind works through effortless impression, not conscious compression. The moment you stop forcing the miracle finally has room to appear. Now that you know how to eliminate internal friction and effortlessly get the exact results you want from your mental operating system, it is time to apply this precise science to the one area of life everyone wants to master: financial abundance. Why do some people effortlessly attract millions while others work 70 hours a week and remain permanently broke?
Third, you must condense your goal into a short, effortless phrase and repeat it like a lullaby. Do not use phrases that require force or logic. Use simple words that convey total completion and relief, such as, "It is finished now," or "Divine harmony is mine." Repeat this phrase over and over, gently and quietly, until your entire nervous system is saturated with the profound emotional relief of victory. Fall asleep inside that feeling. By removing the conscious struggle, you allow the infinite intelligence within you to take the blueprint and execute it flawlessly. Remember this golden nugget. Your subconscious mind works through effortless impression, not conscious compression. The moment you stop forcing the miracle finally has room to appear. Now that you know how to eliminate internal friction and effortlessly get the exact results you want from your mental operating system, it is time to apply this precise science to the one area of life everyone wants to master: financial abundance. Why do some people effortlessly attract millions while others work 70 hours a week and remain permanently broke? In the next chapter, we will unlock the specific keys to weaponizing your subconscious mind for massive wealth, revealing how to erase your poverty programming forever and turn your brain into a literal money magnet.
Why do some people work themselves to the bone, grinding 70 hours a week just to scrape by, while others seem to effortlessly attract money, luxury, and massive financial breakthroughs like a powerful magnet? For generations, society has fed us the dangerous lie that wealth is strictly a product of grueling physical labor, elite luck, or a fancy university degree. But if hard work alone made people rich, every factory worker and manual laborer on the planet would be a multi-millionaire. The staggering truth is that wealth is not a physical condition, it is a subconscious conviction. Welcome to Chapter 9 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are breaking down the exact science of financial attraction and learning how to rewrite your internal financial software. The core thesis of this chapter is absolute. Wealth is a psychological state of mind, and the deep underlying feeling of wealth is what actually produces wealth in your physical reality.
To understand how this economic programming works in real life, let us look at the story of a talented salesman who found himself trapped in a devastating financial rut. No matter how many calls he made or how hard he pushed, his commission checks were always dismal, barely covering his monthly rent. He was deeply resentful and stressed out. Every night, he would lie in bed and try to force himself to feel rich, chanting the affirmation, "I am wealthy, I am prosperous." But the moment those words left his lips, a loud, cynical voice in his conscious mind would shout back, "No, you are not. Look at your empty bank account. You are completely broke." This internal war was actively programming his subconscious for deeper poverty because his mind was actually focusing on the intense feeling of lack. The breakthrough moment occurred when he changed his entire psychological strategy. He realized he had to stop trying to force a lie onto his analytical mind. Instead, right before going to sleep, he relaxed his body and began repeating just two abstract words over and over again like a soothing lullaby: wealth and success. Because these words were concepts rather than direct statements about his current bank account, his conscious watchman didn't argue or fight back. He repeated these words for 5 minutes every single night, flooding his nervous system with the quiet emotion of financial security. Within a few short weeks, his subconscious engine room accepted the new blueprint. Out of nowhere, a major client reached out to him. His sales skyrocketed, and he landed a massive promotion that completely transformed his financial destiny. His wealth state of mind had successfully forced his physical world to change.
Dr. Murphy breaks down this financial law into 3 foundational pillars. First, your subconscious mind is a literal bank that compounds whatever thoughts you deposit into it. If you constantly deposit thoughts of poverty, bills, and financial struggle, your subconscious will ruthlessly pay you back with interest in the form of more debt and lack. But if you systematically deposit thoughts of abundance, prosperity, and financial freedom, your inner mind will automatically organize your habits, ideas, and external opportunities to manifest immense riches. You must treat your thoughts as valuable financial assets. Second, jealousy is the ultimate deadly enemy of wealth attraction. This is the single biggest trap that keeps well-meaning entrepreneurs completely broke. When you see a competitor driving a luxury sports car, expanding their business, or hitting massive financial goals, what is your immediate reflex? If you look at them with a hidden sense of envy, resentment, or bitterness, you are sending a catastrophic signal down into your subconscious engine room. By criticizing their wealth, you are telling your inner mind that wealth is something bad and toxic. Your subconscious will immediately obey that hidden order and make sure you never attract the very thing you are criticizing. If you want to become wealthy, you must actively bless and celebrate the prosperity of others.
Third, you must eliminate the constant mental friction of trying to force financial results. The wrong mindset approaches money with desperate panic, which only highlights the scarcity. The correct, scientific mindset understands that the universe is infinitely abundant and that money is simply a current of energy meant to flow through your life freely. You must stop clinging to money with fear and start viewing it as a tool that constantly circulates to bring value, growth, and freedom to your world. To immediately deploy this financial science and turn your brain into an unstoppable money magnet, you must implement the wealth deposit routine. This is a practical 5-minute daily exercise designed to bypass your financial skepticism and hardwire prosperity directly into your psyche. First, you must choose a neutral financial keyword that creates zero internal argument. If saying, "I am a millionaire," makes you feel like a liar, drop it immediately. Use a broad, non-resistant phrase such as, "Wealth is flowing to me endlessly," or "Prosperity is my natural birthright." Second, isolate yourself in a quiet room twice a day, preferably right when you wake up and right before you fall asleep. Close your eyes, slow your breathing, and completely relax your physical body until you enter a peaceful, drowsy state. Third, deliver your financial keyword with deep emotional resonance. Repeat your phrase slowly and quietly for 5 full minutes. Do not just say the words like a machine. You must feel the absolute comfort, relief, and safety of a person whose financial future is permanently secure. Fall asleep wrapped in that profound feeling of abundance and let your subconscious mind build your fortune overnight.
Remember this golden nugget. The feeling of wealth produces wealth, and your subconscious mind will always multiply and manifest whatever financial blueprint you choose to feel as an absolute truth. Now that you know how to erase your poverty programming and align your deeper mind with the infinite currents of financial abundance, an even deeper psychological block must be addressed. What happens if, deep down in your conditioning, you feel like you do not actually deserve to be rich? What if you were raised to believe that money is dirty or that poverty is a noble virtue? In the next chapter, we will look into your ultimate right to be rich, shattering the toxic cultural myths surrounding money and showing you how to claim a life of absolute luxury and freedom without a single ounce of guilt.
It is your birthright to be rich. You are here to lead a life of abundance, happiness, and radiant freedom. Yet millions of people walk around carrying a deep subconscious guilt about money, believing the toxic lie that poverty is a noble virtue and that wealth is somehow spiritually corrupt. Let us get something straight right now. Poverty is not a virtue. Poverty is a severe mental disease. If you were physically sick, you would immediately seek a doctor and find a cure. But when people are financially sick, they accept it as a twist of fate or a divine test. Welcome to Chapter 10 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are shattering the cultural myths surrounding money and unlocking your absolute right to live a life of luxury, abundance, and massive expansion. The core truth of this chapter is completely liberating. Money is a beautiful, necessary symbol of freedom, and you are hardwired by nature to possess all the wealth you need to fulfill your highest destiny. To see how hidden guilt can completely destroy a person's finances, let us look at the story of a highly intellectual professor. This man was a brilliant educator, deeply dedicated to his students, and highly respected in his field. Yet, despite his genius, his salary was minuscule, his car was falling apart, and he was constantly drowning in debt. He was bitter, resentful, and angry at the world. Whenever he saw less educated entrepreneurs making millions, he would sneer and say, "Money is the root of all evil. It is nothing but filthy lucre, and those people are spiritually corrupt." He genuinely believed his poverty made him superior.
The breakthrough moment happened when he realized a devastating psychological truth. By calling money filthy and corrupt, he was actively programming his subconscious mind to repel it. His inner engine room was simply obeying his order to keep that filthy thing away from his life. He decided to change his entire mental blueprint. He stopped criticizing wealth and began to consciously affirm that money is a divine tool for good. Within months of this psychological shift, his ideas were picked up by a major publisher, he released a best-selling textbook, and he unlocked a massive stream of passive income that wiped out his debt forever. He did not work harder, he simply stopped mentally pushing money away. Dr. Murphy breaks down your financial rights into 3 unshakable principles. First, you must recognize that money is a sacred symbol of circulation.
Just like blood needs to flow smoothly through your veins for your body to remain healthy, money needs to flow constantly through your life for your finances to remain healthy. When you hoard money out of terror or when you block its flow through resentment, you create a financial blood clot. Money is meant to be used, circulated, and released into the world to create expansion, employment, and joy. The more freely you let it flow with love, the faster it returns to you multiplied.
Second, you must completely erase the phrase filthy lucre from your vocabulary. What you condemn will invariably fly away from you. If you constantly criticize wealthy individuals, or if you secretly believe that rich people are dishonest, your subconscious mind will protect you from becoming rich to keep you from becoming what you despise. You cannot attract what you hate. If you want to build massive wealth, you must look at luxury, beautiful homes, and massive financial success with a sense of admiration, blessing the prosperity of the world so your mind knows that you want to be a part of it. Third, you must balance your spiritual and material worlds. Some people make the mistake of focusing entirely on spiritual growth while ignoring their physical needs, while others chase material wealth while leaving their souls completely empty. Both paths lead to frustration. True abundance means having both. You have a right to be spiritually fulfilled, emotionally happy, and financially wealthy, all at the exact same time. Money is not a god to be worshipped, but it is a powerful tool to be used wisely to elevate your human experience. To immediately activate your divine right to wealth and dissolve any hidden financial blocks, you must use the daily circulation affirmation. This is a practical 3-step mental routine you can run every day.
First, clear any immediate financial stress from your mind. Sit in a comfortable space, relax your shoulders, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths until your analytical mind is quiet. Second, deliver a powerful script of acceptance to your subconscious engine room. Repeat these words slowly and with deep feeling. I love money. I use it wisely, constructively, and judiciously. Money is constantly circulating in my life. I release it with joy, and it returns to me multiplied in a wonderful way. Money is good, deeply good, and an absolute blessing to my world. Third, hold the emotion of pure gratitude. Feel the immense relief of knowing that you no longer have to beg or struggle for your survival. Let that feeling of safety wrap around you as you go about your day, trusting that your subconscious is actively arranging your financial breakthrough. Remember this golden nugget. Poverty is a disease of the mind, and you possess the absolute, unshakable right to be wealthy, prosperous, and successful in every single area of your life. Now that you have reclaimed your birthright to financial freedom and learned how to welcome wealth without guilt, an incredible new mechanism awaits. How do you take this wealth mindset and scale it into explosive professional success? How do you turn your subconscious mind into a permanent business partner that guides your career, protects your investments, and ensures your victory in everything you touch? In the next chapter, we will unlock the secret of the subconscious as your partner in success, giving you the exact blueprint to win the ultimate game of life. What does true success look like to you? If your definition of victory is strictly tied to a massive bank account, a luxury mansion, or a prestigious corporate title, you are trapped in a dangerous illusion. Millions of people achieve immense financial wealth only to find themselves spiritually empty, emotionally broken, and physically exhausted. That is not success. That is a well-funded nightmare. True success is a state of psychological harmony. Welcome to Chapter 11 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are unlocking the ultimate blueprint to making your inner mind your primary business partner. The core truth of this chapter will completely change how you approach your career and life goals. Success is not something you chase through brutal external hustle. Success is an internal alignment, and when you make your subconscious mind your partner, you stop fighting for outcomes and start allowing victory to flow to you effortlessly. To see how this partnership operates in the real world, let us look at the inspiring story of a young boy who grew up in conditions of extreme poverty. He had a deep, burning desire to become a physician, but his family could barely afford basic groceries, let alone the massive tuition fees for medical school. Every single person in his environment told him to give up his dream and find a basic manual job. They told him his goal was a physical impossibility. But this boy refused to let the outside world dictate his reality. He decided to hire his subconscious mind as his business partner. Every single night before falling asleep, he would close his eyes, relax his body, and direct a specific movie in his imagination. He vividly pictured a massive, beautifully framed medical diploma hanging on a wall with his name printed on it in bold letters. He did not worry about how he would pay for school, and he did not worry about his grades. He simply looked at that diploma, felt the immense pride of a successful doctor, and fell asleep inside that feeling night after night for months. Then, the life-giving current of his subconscious responded. Out of nowhere, a wealthy doctor visited his town, noticed the boy's incredible intelligence and passion, and offered to completely fund his entire university education. Today, that boy is one of the most successful and respected physicians in his field. His physical world had no choice but to rearrange itself to match the mental blueprint he handed to his partner in the engine room. Dr. Murphy reveals that true success relies on a precise 3-step formula that you must execute to unlock this partnership. The first step is to find the thing you love to do, and then do it with all your heart. If you wake up every morning dreading your job, or if you are only working for a paycheck, you are actively programming your mind for friction and failure. You cannot be truly successful in a field that makes you miserable. If you do not know what your true passion is, you must ask your business partner for guidance. Quiet your mind and say, "The infinite intelligence of my subconscious is now revealing my true place in life." And then trust that the answer will come to you as a sudden flash of intuition or a new opportunity.
The second step to success is to specialize in a particular branch of work and strive to know more about it than anyone else. True success requires a commitment to mastery. You must choose a field, dive deep into its mechanics, and continuously feed your mind with knowledge. When you dedicate yourself to exceptional value and expertise, your subconscious mind automatically aligns your focus, sharpens your intuition during critical business decisions, and elevates you above the competition. The third and most critical step is the ultimate game changer, and it is where most people fail. You must ensure that your desire does not contribute only to your own selfish success. If your only goal is to enrich yourself while ignoring the well-being of others, you isolate your psychological power and cut off the natural flow of abundance. Your desire must be altruistic. It must benefit humanity and provide genuine value to the world. When your work serves a higher purpose, the entire creative force of the universe rushes to back you up, making your success completely unstoppable. To immediately establish this powerful inner partnership and accelerate your professional growth, you can implement the Success Blueprint Decree twice a day. First, enter a state of total non-resistance. Sit in a quiet space, close your eyes, and let go of all your current business stress, financial worries, and logical doubts. Slow your breathing until your physical body feels completely relaxed and still. Second, issue a clear, authoritative contract to your inner partner. Repeat these words slowly and with deep emotional conviction. Success, prosperity, and harmony are mine now. The infinite intelligence of my subconscious mind guides all my plans, blesses my projects, and ensures my victory in everything I touch. I am constantly providing massive value to the world, and wealth flows back to me endlessly. Third, completely release the decree. Do not sit there and stress about how or when your breakthroughs will arrive. Walk away with the absolute confidence of a leader who knows their partner is already executing the plan perfectly behind the scenes. Remember this golden nugget.
true success is an inside job, and when you align your passion, your mastery, and your desire to serve the world with the power of your subconscious mind, failure becomes a physical impossibility. Now that you know how to turn your deeper mind into your ultimate partner for career and life success, an incredible new territory awaits. How do the greatest intellectual giants in human history use this exact same code to make impossible breakthroughs? How do world-class scientists, inventors, and innovators receive answers to complex equations and create historic inventions while they are asleep? In the next chapter, we will unlock how the world's leading scientific minds weaponize their subconscious, giving you the exact tools to solve your most complex life problems overnight.
Imagine sitting at your desk for days, staring at a massive, complex problem that could completely define your career or business. You brainstorm for hours, fill whiteboards with data, and drink gallons of coffee, but your brain feels totally fried. You hit a dead end, and the frustration is paralyzing. Most people assume that the only way out of a creative or technical block is to grind harder and force a solution through sheer intellectual willpower. But history's greatest geniuses, inventors, and scientists operated on a completely different frequency. They knew that the analytical conscious mind is a slow, limited data processor. When they hit a wall, they didn't push harder. They deliberately stopped thinking and handed the data over to the ultimate research and development lab in the universe, their subconscious mind. Welcome to Chapter 12 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are cracking open the exact scientific protocols used by the world's most brilliant innovators to download historic inventions, solve impossible equations, and receive multi-million-dollar ideas while they sleep. The core truth of this chapter will revolutionize your creative process. Your subconscious mind is connected to a boundless reservoir of universal knowledge, and when you feed it the right data and step out of the way, it will automatically synthesize the perfect solution and hand it to you as a sudden flash of absolute genius. To see this mind-boggling process in action, let us look at the dramatic story of Elias Howe, the brilliant inventor who revolutionized the global textile industry by creating the sewing machine. Howe had spent years designing a machine that could automate sewing, spending every single ounce of his energy and capital on the project. But he hit a brutal design flaw that he could not solve. He kept placing the eye of the needle at the top, just like a traditional hand-sewing needle. No matter what he tried, the thread kept snapping, the machine kept jamming, and he found himself on the absolute brink of total bankruptcy and despair. One night, completely exhausted and mentally beaten, he gave up the struggle and fell into a deep sleep. His subconscious immediately took the problem and went to work. He had a vivid, terrifying nightmare. He dreamed he was captured by a tribe of fierce warriors in a strange land who commanded him to finish the sewing machine immediately or face execution. As he stood there trembling, the warriors began to surround him, raising their spears to strike him down. In that moment of intense terror, Howe noticed a bizarre, specific detail. Every single spear had an eye-shaped hole drilled right at the very tip of the blade. He woke up in a cold sweat, but with an absolute shock of clarity. He realized his subconscious had just handed him the missing puzzle piece. He needed to place the eye of the needle at the point, not the top. He ran to his workshop, adjusted the design, and history was made. His inner mind solved a multi-million-dollar engineering problem in a single night, while his conscious logic was completely unconscious. This incredible breakthrough happens because of a precise three-part psychological mechanism. First, your subconscious mind is a master pattern matcher. Your conscious mind can only focus on a few pieces of information at a time, analyzing data linearly, one step after another. But your subconscious mind works globally and simultaneously. It scans billions of data points, past memories, and hidden connections across the universe at lightning speed. When you feed your conscious mind with facts, research, and data, you are essentially loading raw fuel into a supercomputer. Second, the flash of insight always requires a period of incubation. If you look at history, Nikola Tesla visualized his complex electrical motors perfectly in his imagination, letting his subconscious run the machines for months to find design flaws before he ever built them in reality. The famous chemist Friedrich von Stradonitz discovered the complex structure of the benzene ring after having a dream of a snake biting its own tail. These geniuses understood that you must do the heavy lifting of gathering data consciously, but then you must enter a state of complete relaxation. The answer never arrives during intense mental stress. It always flashes into your awareness when you are doing something completely unrelated, like taking a shower, going for a walk, or waking up from a deep sleep. Third, you must explicitly trust the intelligence within you. If you pass a problem over to your subconscious while secretly worrying that you will never find the answer, your inner mind will simply manifest your worry and lock the solution away. You must approach your subconscious mind with the absolute, unwavering expectation that it is currently working out the perfect answer for you behind the scenes. To immediately weaponize this scientific protocol to solve your own business, creative, or life dilemmas, you must implement the overnight download protocol right before you go to sleep tonight. First, define your target problem with absolute clarity. Do not hand your subconscious a messy, vague complaint like, "My business is failing, help me." Instead, condense your problem into a sharp, specific question. For example, write down or say mentally, "I need the perfect marketing strategy to scale my business to the next level," or "I need the exact solution to this technical conflict." Feed your mind the data. Review the facts for a few minutes and then stop analyzing.
Second, enter a state of deep physical quietness. Lie flat in your bed. Slow your breathing and tell your muscles to let go until your body feels heavy and relaxed. You want to enter that floating, drowsy state where your conscious watchman goes offline. Third, issue a clear, authoritative directive to your inner mind. Speak to it like a brilliant elite consultant that works for you. Mentally say, "The infinite intelligence of my subconscious mind knows the perfect answer to this problem. It is processing the data right now, and it will reveal the solution to me in perfect timing with absolute clarity." Release the problem completely. Stop worrying about how it will happen, and fall asleep inside that feeling of total certainty. When you wake up, pay close attention to your first thoughts, sudden impulses, or intuitive flashes, because that is your partner delivering the code. Remember this golden nugget. Your subconscious mind is the ultimate problem-solving engine, and history's greatest breakthroughs are not created by intellectual struggle, but downloaded through effortless psychological surrender. Now that you know how the world's most brilliant scientific minds tap into this infinite reservoir to solve complex equations and create historic inventions overnight, an even more magical reality opens up. Your subconscious mind does not just solve problems while you sleep, it uses the hours of your rest to perform deep biological repair, protect you from unseen dangers, and deliver profound spiritual guidance. In the next chapter, we will look deep into the miracles of sleep, revealing how to use your nightly rest to unlock an explosive surge of daily energy, erase years of accumulated stress, and receive divine navigation for your future.
You spend about 8 hours a day, or roughly 1/3 of your entire life, unconscious in a dark room. Most people view sleep as a necessary annoyance, a dead zone where nothing happens except basic physical rest. They treat it like turning off a smartphone at night, but modern neuroscience and psychological science are proving a massive reality. Sleep is not a state of passive oblivion. It is a hyperactive, high-performance portal where your subconscious mind steps into full control. While your conscious ego is knocked out, your inner supercomputer is working overtime to erase stress, rebuild your cells, and download answers from the universal database. Welcome to Chapter 13 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are unlocking the incredible wonders of sleep and discovering how to turn your nightly rest into a tool for absolute rejuvenation and divine guidance. The
The core truth of this chapter will change how you look at the night forever. Your subconscious mind never sleeps, and the 8 hours you spend in bed are the most spiritually active and creatively powerful hours of your entire day. To see how this nocturnal guidance can literally save your life or your career, let us look at the story of a high-level executive who received a massive corporate job offer on the opposite side of the country. On paper, the position was a dream come true. It offered a massive 6-figure salary, a prestigious title, and immense corporate leverage. His conscious mind was screaming, "Take it immediately, it is a no-brainer." But deep down, he felt a subtle, unsettling friction he could not explain. He was trapped in a brutal cycle of overthinking and analysis paralysis. Knowing he could not solve it with logic, he decided to hand the contract over to his subconscious mind right before bed. He sat on the edge of his bed, relaxed his body, and mentally declared, "The infinite intelligence within me knows exactly what to do, and it will guide me to the perfect decision while I sleep." He fell asleep in total peace. In the middle of the night, he woke up with a sharp, overwhelming, and unshakable feeling of no. The intuition was so powerful it felt like a physical wall. Despite his logical conscious mind arguing against it, he trusted his inner partner and officially turned down the job. 2 months later, the news broke across the business world. That exact company had been hiding a massive financial fraud. Its stocks crashed to zero, and the firm went completely bankrupt overnight. If he had relied on his logical conscious mind, his career would have been utterly ruined. His subconscious mind had scanned the invisible data and protected him while he was completely unconscious. This profound protection is possible because your subconscious operates on a completely different dimension during sleep. Dr. Murphy breaks down this nightly phenomenon into 3 core truths. First, your subconscious mind is a 24/7 operating system that never rests. When you drift off into sleep, your heart keeps pumping, your lungs keep expanding, and your digestive system continues to process food. But more importantly, your mental engine room accelerates. Free from the constant noise, distractions, and negative inputs of your waking life, your subconscious goes to work to repair the psychological damage caused by your daily worries. It acts as a master custodian, sweeping away the toxic mental waste of fear and doubt and restoring your mind to its natural state of harmony. Second, sleep is the ultimate charging station for your physical and mental energy. Many people suffer from chronic fatigue and burnout not because they lack physical sleep, but because they go to bed with their minds on fire. When you fall asleep chewing on your problems, arguing with your spouse, or stressing about your bank account, you are forcing your subconscious to run a destructive script all night long. You wake up feeling completely drained because your inner mind was fighting a war for 8 hours. But when you consciously surrender your problems before bed, your subconscious can focus entirely on cellular renewal, boosting your immune system and recharging your cognitive battery, allowing you to wake up with an explosive surge of natural vitality. Third, your subconscious uses the silence of the night to deliver divine navigation. In the quiet of sleep, the barrier between your conscious ego and the infinite intelligence of the universe is completely dissolved. Your inner mind can see around corners, predict trends, and find solutions that are completely invisible to your waking logic. It communicates through sudden intuitive hits, vivid dreams, or a deep sense of knowing when you open your eyes in the morning. To immediately tap into this nocturnal superpower and download divine guidance for your life, you must implement the Nightly Query Protocol every single evening. First, as you lie in bed, completely isolate your mind from the stress of the day. Turn off your screens, close your eyes, and take slow, deep breaths until your physical body feels completely heavy and still. Second, articulate your specific request or question clearly and calmly in your mind. Do not approach your mind with panic or anxiety. Speak to your subconscious with absolute confidence, saying, "The infinite wisdom of my inner mind is now processing this situation and will give me the perfect guidance when I wake up." Third, completely release the thought and fall asleep inside a feeling of total security and gratitude. Act as if the problem has already been solved by a brilliant advisor. When you open your eyes in the morning, do not immediately grab your phone. Sit quietly for 2 minutes and listen to your inner voice, because your subconscious will often hand you the exact blueprint you need the moment you wake up. Remember this golden nugget. Sleep is the sacred bridge where your conscious worries dissolve, allowing the infinite intelligence of your subconscious to heal your body and navigate your destiny without a single ounce of struggle. Now that you know how to use your nightly rest to download divine guidance and unlock explosive daily energy, a beautiful new dimension of life opens up. Your mind does not just control your body, your career, and your sleep. It controls your most intimate human connections. Why do some relationships burn with love and harmony, while others crumble into toxic arguments and heartbreak? In the next chapter, we will unlock the profound mechanics of the subconscious mind and marriage, giving you the exact keys to heal broken relationships and attract your perfect soulmate effortlessly.
Look at the staggering divorce statistics across the modern world. Why do two people who start out madly in love, promising to cherish each other forever, end up sitting in a bitter courtroom, tearing each other's lives apart? For generations, relationship experts have told us that marriage failure is caused by financial stress, poor communication, or clashing personalities. But those are merely the external symptoms of a much deeper, invisible crisis. The shocking truth is that most people do not marry a physical human being. They marry their own subconscious projections. Welcome to Chapter 14 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the profound psychology of intimate connections and discovering how to rewrite your relationship blueprint. The core truth of this chapter will completely transform your love life. Marriage is not a mere legal contract or physical union. It is a profound psychological mirror, and your relationship will only reflect the exact level of harmony or chaos that exists inside your own subconscious mind. To see how this invisible attraction works in real life, let us look at the powerful story of a brilliant, highly successful corporate executive named Sarah. On paper, Sarah was unstoppable. She was sharp, wealthy, and highly respected in her industry. Yet, her romantic life was an absolute recurring nightmare. She had been married 3 times, and every single husband turned out to be financially irresponsible, emotionally abusive, and deeply dependent on her income. She was completely broken and filled with resentment, firmly believing that she was cursed with terrible luck and that all men were inherently toxic. But her breakthrough moment happened when she stopped blaming the outside world and dared to look at her internal operating system. During a deep psychological analysis, she realized that her father had been a deeply unstable man who abandoned her family when she was a child. Unknowingly, her childhood subconscious mind had built a dangerous definition of love, equating intimacy with chaos, insecurity, and unreliability. For decades, her subconscious engine room had simply been executing that old script, acting like a heat-seeking missile to find and attract the exact men who would fulfill her inner prophecy of abandonment. She didn't have bad luck, she had a bad psychological blueprint. Sarah decided to take total control. She completely stopped dating and spent 2 months systematically reprogramming her mind, visualizing a partner who is deeply responsible, loving, and emotionally secure. She flooded her nervous system with the quiet feeling of being genuinely cherished every single night. Within a year, her physical reality had no choice but to align with her new code. She met an incredible, supportive man, and they built a deeply harmonious marriage that lasted a lifetime. Her inner shift had completely broken the cycle of heartbreak. This remarkable transformation is possible because relationship dynamics are entirely governed by psychological laws. Dr. Murphy breaks down this romantic science into 3 foundational pillars. First, attraction is a direct product of your internal polarity. You do not marry the person you consciously want. You marry the person who matches your current subconscious programming. If you carry a deep underlying fear of being cheated on, rejected, or controlled, your subconscious mind will automatically guide your body language, eye contact, and daily choices to select a partner who will validate that exact fear. If you want to change the type of partner you attract, you must first change the emotional frequency you are broadcasting from your own mind. Second, the silent killer of any relationship is mental erosion. Divorce does not start in a courtroom or during a massive explosive argument. It starts weeks, months, or years earlier in the quiet, unchecked thoughts of your own mind. When you begin to nag, dwell on your partner's flaws, or constantly criticize their mistakes, you are effectively dropping slow-acting poison into your subconscious engine room. Your inner mind takes those negative thoughts and begins to physically distort your behavior, making you cold, defensive, and resentful. You cannot build a beautiful marriage while building a mental case against your partner. What you constantly focus on in your spouse, you will actively multiply in your relationship. Third, a great marriage requires a continuous joint deposit of harmony. A successful union is not about finding the perfect person, it is about becoming the perfect partner. Many people enter a marriage with a deeply selfish mindset, constantly asking, what can this person do for me, or how can they make me happy? This scarcity mindset creates immediate friction. A truly successful relationship operates on a higher law of mutual blessing. You must view your marriage as a sacred laboratory where both minds are completely dedicated to uplifting, honoring, and supporting the highest potential of the other. To immediately apply this relationship science to heal your current marriage or attract your ultimate soulmate, you must master the Relationship Alignment Protocol. This is a practical 3-step framework you can execute starting tonight. First, you must completely stop the blame game. Accept the absolute truth that trying to force your partner to change through willpower, arguments, or manipulation is a complete waste of energy. It only creates a massive counter-suggestion of resistance. Let go of the need to control them and turn your focus entirely inward. Second, build your ideal relationship script. If you are single, write down a clean, concise list of the exact spiritual, emotional, and psychological traits you desire in a partner. If you are currently married, write down a list of your spouse's greatest strengths and past beautiful moments. Focus entirely on appreciation. Third, saturate your subconscious engine room right before sleep. Close your eyes, relax your body, and enter that drowsy, peaceful state. Mentally broadcast a wave of love and success to your partner, or imagine yourself walking hand in hand with your ideal mate. Repeat the words, peace, harmony, and divine love govern our union, over and over until you fall asleep inside that profound feeling of relational security. Let your inner mind weave the emotional reality into your physical world while you rest. Remember this golden nugget. Marriage is the ultimate psychological mirror. You will never experience a greater level of love, respect, and harmony in your physical relationship than you have already established within the engine room of your own mind. Now that you know how to rewrite your relationship blueprint and use your subconscious mind to build a life of absolute romantic harmony, a beautiful new question arises. How do we take this inner peace and scale it into a permanent state of daily joy? Why do some people remain radiantly happy despite facing massive external crises, while others possess everything the world has to offer and remain deeply miserable? In the next chapter, we will unlock the profound connection between the subconscious mind and happiness, giving you the exact scientific keys to program your brain for unstoppable, lifelong joy. Imagine a person who wins a $100 million lottery, buys a fleet of luxury sports cars, moves into a massive oceanfront mansion, and yet finds themselves clinically depressed, anxious, and deeply broken just 12 months later. At the exact same time, look at a humble shoemaker working in a tiny, cramped shop who radiates an unshakable sense of peace, joy, and contagious laughter all day long. For generations, society has conditioned us to believe the ultimate lie, that happiness is an external destination,
something you can finally achieve once you land the perfect job, hit a specific bank account balance, or marry the perfect person. But if external things could guarantee joy, the world's elite would be permanently ecstatic, and the impoverished would be permanently miserable. The staggering truth is that happiness is not a physical result, it is a subconscious habit. Welcome to Chapter 15 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are breaking down the exact psychological science of daily joy and learning how to program your brain for unshakable inner peace. The core thesis of this chapter is absolute. Happiness is a deliberate mental choice, and you must choose it just as you choose your clothes every morning, independent of whatever chaos is happening in the physical world around you. To see this profound psychological truth in action, let us look at the story of a prominent businessman who found himself completely trapped in a cage of his own making. On the outside, he was the absolute definition of American success. He ran a highly profitable company, had a beautiful family, and owned multiple luxury properties. Yet, on the inside, he was drowning in a toxic swamp of chronic stress, irritability, and cynicism. He woke up every morning with a heavy sense of dread, constantly snapping at his employees and arguing with his wife. He firmly believed that his misery was caused by the intense pressure of the economy, the demands of his clients, and the endless problems in his industry. His breakthrough moment happened when he suffered a sudden, severe health scare that forced him to sit in a quiet hospital bed for 2 full weeks. Stripped of his phone, his meetings, and his corporate identity, he had a massive epiphany. He looked out the hospital window and watched a janitor sweeping the street outside, whistling a beautiful tune, completely radiant with joy. In that moment, the businessman realized a devastating truth. His environment was not creating his misery, his own mind was creating it. He had spent decades programming his subconscious engine room with blueprints of worry, defensive anger, and hypercriticism. He decided to change his entire mental operating system. Every single morning, before checking a single email, he lay still in bed and spent 5 minutes flooding his mind with thoughts of pure appreciation, peace, and success. Within a month, his physical world transformed. His chronic health issues vanished, his relationships healed, and his business grew even faster because he was leading from a state of inspiration rather than panic. He didn't change his job, he changed his inner frequency, and his reality had no choice but to follow. This internal rewiring works because of 3 timeless psychological principles. First, you must understand that there is no block to your happiness except your own thoughts. Most people are stuck in the dangerous trap of conditional joy, constantly telling themselves, "I will be happy when I pay off this debt," or "I will be happy if I get that promotion." This mindset is a psychological catastrophe. By placing your happiness in the future, you are actively telling your subconscious mind that you are currently lacking joy. Your inner mind will blindly execute that order, ensuring that even when you do hit your goals, the goalposts will immediately move, leaving you permanently unfulfilled. You must realize that the only time to be happy is right now, in this exact moment, by a sovereign decree of your own will.
Second, wealth and external luxuries are completely neutral objects. There is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting a beautiful home, fine clothes, or massive financial abundance. In fact, as we discovered in earlier chapters, it is your absolute birthright to prosper. But you must never make the mistake of looking to those material objects to provide your internal sense of security, value, or joy. Money can buy you comfort, but it can never buy you peace. True wealth is a byproduct of a harmonious mind. When you build a beautiful inner temple of gratitude and confidence, your subconscious mind will automatically manifest the external riches to match that luxury state of mind. Third, the habit of happiness is built through continuous subconscious impression. Your brain operates exactly like a muscle. If you spend all day lifting heavy weights of resentment, scrolling through negative news, and rehearsing your problems in your head,
You are training your mind to become a world-class factory of misery. You must become a ruthless editor of your inner dialogue. The moment a cynical, fearful, or angry thought tries to slip past your guard, you must instantly neutralize it. You choose your emotional destiny by choosing which thoughts you allow to take root in the fertile soil of your psyche. To immediately deploy this science and build an unbreakable habit of daily joy, you must master the morning happiness decree. This is a practical 3-minute mental launch sequence you must execute the very second you open your eyes every morning.
First, before you touch your phone, look at your schedule, or step out of bed, lie completely still and take 3 slow, deep breaths. Calm your physical body and quiet your analytical mind before the noise of the day can take over. Second, deliver a powerful, unshakable script of joy directly to your subconscious engine room. Speak these words silently or out loud with deep, burning conviction. I choose happiness today. I choose success today. I choose divine guidance and peace for my entire world. Infinite intelligence guides all my actions, and everything I touch will prosper and grow. Divine love surrounds me, and I walk in absolute harmony all day long. Third, flood your entire nervous system with the physical sensation of total relief and gratitude. Do not just say the words, feel how a truly happy, secure, and victorious person feels. Smile physically. Let that wave of radiant energy wash over every cell in your body, and then step into your day. By making this your permanent morning ritual, you force your subconscious mind to align your daily encounters, opportunities, and experiences with the frequency of joy. Remember this golden nugget. You choose happiness just as you choose an executive path in life. It is a sovereign decision made in the engine room of your own mind, completely independent of the world outside. Now that you know how to program your brain for unstoppable daily joy and unshakable inner peace, an incredible new territory awaits. True happiness cannot exist in isolation. It must be shared with the world around us. But how do we maintain our inner peace when dealing with difficult, toxic, or manipulative people? How do we use our subconscious mind to dissolve arguments, heal broken friendships, and build beautiful, harmonious relationships with everyone we meet? In the next chapter, we will unlock the profound mechanics of the subconscious mind and harmonious human relations, giving you the exact psychological keys to master any social environment and win the ultimate game of human connection.
Imagine walking into an important business meeting or a family gathering, only to immediately feel your stomach tie itself in knots because of one deeply toxic, manipulative, or critical person in the room. Most people believe that their social anxiety, anger, and relationship drama are caused strictly by the bad behavior of others. They waste years trying to change, argue with, or fix the difficult people in their lives, completely blind to a profound psychological law. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between your thoughts about others and your thoughts about yourself. Welcome to Chapter 16 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are unlocking the ultimate code to mastering human relations and gaining total emotional immunity in any social environment. The core truth of this chapter is an absolute game changer. The way you mentally evaluate other people is the exact blueprint your subconscious mind uses to shape your own destiny, meaning that harmony with others is entirely an inside job. To see this interpersonal mechanism in action, let us look at the story of a highly capable engineer named Robert. Robert was brilliant at his job, but he was completely miserable because he firmly believed his coworkers were actively sabotaging his career. He claimed his manager was a toxic, power-tripping tyrant who constantly overlooked his ideas and that his team members were jealous, backstabbing gossips. He spent every evening venting his rage to his wife, rehearsing the insults, and mentally fighting his colleagues. His career was completely stalled, his health was failing due to chronic stress, and he was on the absolute verge of quitting in bitter defeat.
The breakthrough moment occurred when Robert sat down with a master psychological consultant who handed him a harsh reality check. The consultant told him that his intense internal rage and hypercriticism were acting like an invisible broadcast tower, subconsciously projecting defensive body language, passive-aggressive tones, and an aura of hostility that practically forced his coworkers to react negatively to him. Robert decided to run a radical psychological experiment. He completely stopped complaining and began to mentally bless his boss and team every single morning before stepping into the office. He closed his eyes and vividly imagined his manager praising his work and his team collaborating with him in perfect harmony. Within 3 short weeks, the atmosphere completely transformed. His manager unexpectedly gave him a major project lead. His team members became supportive, and the toxicity vanished. Robert didn't change his company, he changed his inner projection, and his social reality had no choice but to warp around his new code. This social transformation happens because your human connections are completely governed by 3 unshakable psychological pillars. First, the golden rule is not just a moral cliché, it is a strict law of subconscious chemistry. When the ancient texts say, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you," they are giving you an engineering blueprint for your brain. Because your subconscious mind is completely impersonal, whenever you secretly wish failure, lack, or misery upon a competitor or a difficult boss, your inner mind registers that negative data as a direct command for your life. You cannot drop mental poison into the well of another person's life without poisoning your own internal reservoir. If you want to experience respect, promotion, and love, you must systematically broadcast those exact emotional states to every single person you meet. Second, emotional maturity means recognizing that difficult people are simply emotionally sick individuals. When someone attacks you with venom, criticism, or jealousy, the wrong mindset is to take it personally, get defensive, and fight back, which only drags you down to their toxic frequency. The correct, scientific mindset is to view their behavior exactly as a medical doctor views a symptom of a disease. A person who is genuinely happy, wealthy, and fulfilled will never spend their time tearing others down. Toxic people are screaming in internal pain and projecting their own self-hatred onto you. Instead of reacting with anger, you must shield yourself with empathy, mentally wishing them peace and healing so that their poison can never penetrate your inner gate. Third, you possess absolute sovereignty over your own emotional state. No one on this planet can make you angry, sad, or insecure without your explicit mental consent. When a difficult person hurls an insult at you, it is nothing more than a series of harmless sound waves moving through the air. The insult only gains power when your conscious mind chooses to pick it up, analyze it, and accept it as a truth. The moment you realize that you are the absolute master of your own thoughts, you completely disarm every manipulator, bully, and toxic critic in your world. To immediately claim total emotional immunity and build effortless harmony in your social or professional life, you must implement the Interpersonal Radiance Protocol twice a day. First, identify the most challenging, difficult, or toxic person in your current life. Write their name down and make a conscious, unshakable decision that you will no longer allow them to control your nervous system. Second, sit quietly before you interact with them or right before you fall asleep. Close your eyes and deeply relax your physical body until your analytical watchman goes offline. Third, deliver a powerful, proactive blessing to their subconscious mind. Mentally project a wave of absolute goodwill toward them, saying these words slowly. I release you completely, and I wish for you perfect peace, happiness, and prosperity. Divine harmony governs our connection, and I am permanently immune to all negative inputs. Repeat this until the emotional friction in your chest completely dissolves into a feeling of absolute relief. By doing this, you scramble their toxic frequency and force your subconscious to protect your peace flawlessly. Remember this golden nugget. The way you treat and perceive others is the exact psychological mirror of how you are currently programming your own subconscious engine room for success or failure. Now that you know how to master human relations and build an unshakable shield of emotional peace against toxic people, the ultimate test of psychological freedom awaits. What happens when the hurt is so deep or the betrayal is so brutal that your conscious mind simply refuses to let go? How do you wipe away the invisible scars of the past that are secretly draining your energy and sabotaging your future? In the next chapter, we will unlock the ultimate superpower of the subconscious mind and forgiveness, giving you the exact scientific blueprint to release your past chains, heal your deep wounds, and claim total mental liberation. Imagine walking around every single day carrying a massive, heavy suitcase filled with jagged, burning rocks. It tears your muscles, blisters your hands, and leaves you completely exhausted before your day even begins. You want to run toward your biggest financial and career goals, but that crushing weight keeps you moving at a painful crawl. This is exactly what you are doing to your life whenever you choose to hold on to a grudge, a past betrayal, or a deep sense of resentment. Most people believe that refusing to forgive someone is a sign of strength, a way to punish the person who hurt them. But the absolute, terrifying truth is that resentment is an emotional poison you drink yourself while foolishly expecting the other person to die. Welcome to Chapter 17 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are unlocking the ultimate superpower of total mental liberation, forgiveness. The core truth of this chapter will completely alter your psychological perspective. Forgiveness is not a weak religious favor you grant to an enemy. It is a cutthroat, selfish act of personal freedom that completely severs the invisible chains destroying your health, wealth, and future success. To see how a hidden grudge can completely bankrupt a person's life, let us look at the story of a brilliant marketing director named John. John had spent 5 years building a groundbreaking advertising agency from scratch alongside his closest friend and business partner. But just as the company was about to sign a multi-million-dollar corporate contract, his partner secretly stole the entire client database, locked John out of the system, and launched a rival agency overnight. John was left completely devastated, financially ruined, and consumed by a volcanic, toxic rage. He spent the next 3 years obsessed with revenge. He replayed the betrayal in his mind thousands of times, cursed his ex-partner's name every single night, and poured all his energy into bitter lawsuits. But his breakthrough moment happened when he realized a terrifying pattern. Even though he was a marketing genius, every single new business venture he tried to launch failed miserably. He was drowning in debt, his creative ideas dried up, and his physical health began to rapidly decay. During a moment of deep psychological clarity, John finally connected the dots. His ex-partner wasn't destroying his new businesses. John's own subconscious mind was destroying them. Because his inner engine room was constantly saturated with the blueprints of rage, lack, and betrayal, his subconscious was blindly executing those exact states of failure in his current reality. He was literally blocking his own wealth to keep feeding his hatred. John decided enough was enough. He sat down in a quiet room, closed his eyes, and chose to release his ex-partner completely. He systematically replaced his thoughts of revenge with a deliberate decree of peace. Within a few short months of this emotional surgery, John's mind cleared. His creativity exploded, and he landed a massive international client that made him more successful than he had ever been in his entire life. By freeing his enemy, he had finally unlocked his own goldmine. This life-altering transformation is possible because human emotion is entirely governed by 3 unshakable psychological pillars. First, your subconscious mind is a literal video recorder that cannot distinguish between reality and imagination. When you sit on your couch and angrily relive a betrayal that happened 5 years ago, your conscious mind knows it is a memory. But your subconscious engine room believes it is happening right now, in this exact second. It instantly triggers a massive surge of stress hormones, floods your body with toxic chemistry, and disrupts your natural physical harmony. You are not punishing the person who hurt you. They are likely miles away enjoying their life, completely unaware of your suffering. You are simply using your own mind to continuously assault your own body and your own success.
Second, you cannot attract abundance while broadcasting the frequency of condemnation. Life is a precise psychological mirror. If your deeper mind is filled with the feeling that the world is full of backstabbers, cheaters, and unfair systems, your subconscious will automatically guide your behavior to select dishonest partners and miss golden opportunities. It will ruthlessly validate your negative worldview. To experience wealth, promotion, and deep loyalty from others, you must keep your internal reservoir completely clean. You must clear out the emotional debris of the past to make room for the riches of the present. Third, the ultimate, unshakable test of true forgiveness is memory without emotional sting. Many people say, "I can forgive, but I will never forget." But if remembering the event still makes your blood boil, your heart race, or your stomach tighten, you have not forgiven at all. You have simply buried the toxic radiation deeper into your subjective psyche. True forgiveness means you can look at the past event with the cold, detached perspective of a historian. You remember the facts, but the emotional charge has been completely neutralized. You can look at the person who wronged you and genuinely wish them well, because you realize they were simply an emotionally sick person projecting their own internal pain. To immediately deploy this psychological superpower and claim total mental liberation, you must master the total decoupling protocol right before you sleep tonight.
First, identify the exact person, past event, or betrayal that still triggers a sense of pain or resentment in your chest. Stop running away from the memory. Bring it directly into the light of your conscious awareness. Second, enter a state of total physical stillness. Lie down in your bed, slow your breathing, and completely relax your muscles until you reach that peaceful, drowsy state where your analytical watchman goes completely offline. Third, issue a clear, authoritative decree of release. Speak these words slowly and with absolute emotional finality in your mind. I release you completely. I forgive you, and I hand you over to the infinite peace of the universe. You no longer hold any power over my mind, my body, or my future. I wish for you perfect health, happiness, and prosperity, and I walk forward in absolute freedom. Repeat this phrase like a soothing lullaby until the heavy weight in your chest completely dissolves into a wave of profound relief. Fall asleep inside that feeling of total emotional clean slate. Remember this golden nugget. To forgive is to release a psychological prisoner, only to discover that the prisoner you have actually set free was yourself all along. Now that you know how to perform emotional surgery on your past wounds and use the power of forgiveness to unlock absolute mental freedom, a critical and highly dangerous barrier remains. What happens when the enemy isn't someone else, but an unshakable, destructive habit inside your own behavior? How do you use your subconscious mind to conquer intense addictions, toxic loops, and deep-seated fears that keep you pulling you back into failure? In the next chapter, we will unlock how the subconscious thaws out and thwacks away your toughest mental barriers, giving you the exact scientific protocols to break any bad habit and claim absolute control over your destiny forever. Imagine promising yourself that today is the day you finally change. You swear you will stop procrastinating, stop overeating, or finally walk away from a toxic habit that is actively draining your bank account and destroying your career. You feel a sudden surge of motivation, but the moment stress hits, an overwhelming, uncontrollable craving takes over your physical body, and before you know it, you are right back at the bottom of the exact same loop. You feel defeated, full of self-hatred, and completely powerless. Most people believe that breaking a destructive habit requires a brutal war of willpower, a relentless struggle against your own desires. But the shocking truth is that the harder you fight a bad habit with your conscious will, the more power you give it in your psychological reality. Welcome to Chapter 18 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today we are breaking down the exact science of mental blocks and learning how to dissolve any addiction, toxic routine, or self-sabotaging loop from the inside out. The core truth of this chapter is absolute liberation. A bad habit is nothing more than a deeply grooved mental highway in your subconscious mind, and you can completely erase that highway by effortlessly building a brand new path of freedom in its place. To see this psychological blueprint in action, let us look at the intense story of a brilliant corporate executive named Philip. Philip was an absolute genius in the boardroom, but his personal life was a smoking ruin due to severe chronic alcoholism. He had spent years in and out of rehab centers. He had made thousands of desperate promises to his wife, his children, and his business partners, swearing he would never touch another drop of alcohol. He used every single ounce of his conscious willpower to stay sober. But every single time he faced a high-stress negotiation or an emotional conflict, a violent mental block took over his brain. An unshakable urge would demand a drink, overriding his logic completely and leading him straight into another devastating binge. He was on the absolute verge of losing his family, his fortune, and his life. Philip's breakthrough moment occurred when he realized that his conscious willpower was completely useless against his subconscious imagination. Whenever he forced himself to stay sober, his imagination was secretly painting vivid pictures of the relief, the taste, and the comfort of the drink. In this battle, his imagination won every single time because his inner engine room was simply executing the emotional picture. Philip decided to stop fighting. He hired his subconscious mind to build a new reality. Twice a day, he would sit in a deeply comfortable chair, close his eyes, and relax his body until he entered a drowsy, meditative state. He completely stopped thinking about alcohol. Instead, he directed a short, powerful movie in his imagination. He vividly pictured his young daughter giving him a massive, loving hug, looking into his eyes with pure joy and saying, "Daddy, look at you. You are completely free. We are so proud of you." He didn't just see the scene. He felt the physical warmth of her embrace, heard the exact pitch of her voice, and flooded his entire nervous system with the overwhelming relief of being a healed man. He repeated this exact movie like a mental loop right before bed for weeks. His subconscious mind accepted the new software. The intense craving completely dissolved. His physical body rejected alcohol, and he reclaimed his life as a permanently free man. His inner shift had effortlessly shattered a multi-year addiction. This miraculous recovery is possible because your behavior is entirely governed by three foundational pillars of mental programming. First, you must understand that the subconscious mind is a creature of habit. Your inner mind does not care whether a habit is good or bad for your life. It simply automates whatever routine you repeat with intense emotion. When you use alcohol, gambling, procrastination, or toxic spending to escape from stress, your subconscious notes the immediate relief and creates a chemical loop. Over time, this loop becomes an automated mental block that triggers automatically whenever you feel uncomfortable. To break the block, you must stop attacking the symptom and start reprogramming the underlying trigger. Second, you cannot cure an addiction by focusing on the addiction. This is the single biggest mistake that keeps well-meaning people trapped in failure for decades. When you constantly chant, "I will not drink," "I will not smoke," or "I will not waste money," your conscious mind is using negative words, but your subconscious engine room only registers the main keyword. It hears drink, smoke, waste money. By focusing your attention on the bad habit, you are actually magnifying its power over your nervous system. You cannot push darkness out of a room with your hands. You can only dissolve the darkness by turning on the light. You must completely withdraw your attention from the problem and place it entirely on the state of freedom. Third, the ultimate key to mental liberation is the law of substitution. Your subconscious mind cannot hold two opposing blueprints at the exact same time. If you systematically saturate your inner mind with the profound emotional feeling of peace, health, and liberty, it will automatically starve the old habit of its psychological fuel. The old mental highway will slowly decay from lack of use, and your brain will naturally execute the new habit of success. You do not need to fight your demons. You simply need to introduce them to a much higher frequency of joy. To immediately deploy this behavioral science and shatter any negative habit or mental block holding you back from your highest success, you must master the Freedom Screen Protocol twice a day. First, identify the exact toxic habit or mental block that is currently sabotaging your career, your wealth, or your peace of mind. Explicitly write down the exact opposite state of that habit as your new target destination. If you suffer from chronic procrastination, your target state is effortless, decisive action. Second, isolate yourself in a quiet room, preferably right before you fall asleep or the second you wake up. Close your eyes, slow your breathing, and completely relax your muscles until you enter that peaceful, floating, drowsy state where your analytical watchman goes offline. Third, activate your internal freedom screen. Do not picture the struggle of quitting. Project a high-definition movie of the final result onto the screen of your mind. See yourself operating with absolute focus, abundance, and mastery. See the people you love congratulating you on your massive victory. Repeat a short, simple phrase over and over like a lullaby. Freedom, peace of mind, and absolute success are mine now. Feel the deep, heavy wave of relief wash over every single cell in your body and let that emotion sink into the engine room.
Remember this golden nugget. A bad habit is not an unchangeable part of your identity. It is simply a piece of old software running in your mind, and you hold the absolute power to rewrite the code whenever you choose to step into freedom. Now that you know how to dismantle internal blocks and use the law of substitution to conquer your toughest personal habits, a massive, universal barrier remains. What happens when the block isn't a physical habit, but a paralyzing, invisible emotion that freezes your entire potential? How do you use your subconscious mind to conquer intense fear, stage fright, panic attacks, and the constant dread of failure? In the next chapter, we will unlock the profound science of the subconscious mind and the elimination of fear, giving you the exact psychological keys to step into absolute courage and dominate every environment you enter. Imagine standing at the edge of a massive stage, looking out at thousands of faces waiting for you to speak. Suddenly, your throat tightens, your heart hammers against your ribs like a trapped bird, and your mind goes completely blank. You are paralyzed. Imagine standing at the edge of a massive stage, looking out at thousands of faces waiting for you to speak. Suddenly, your throat tightens, your heart hammers against your ribs like a trapped bird, and your mind goes completely blank. You are paralyzed. Fear is humanity's public enemy number one. It is a silent thief that steals millions of fortunes, ruins promising careers, and causes physical sickness every single day. Most people spend their entire lives running away from their phobias, treating fear as an unshakable monster. But the shocking truth is that fear is nothing more than a toxic thought in your own mind. And because you created that thought, you hold the absolute power to destroy it instantly. Welcome to Chapter 19 of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Today, we are unlocking the psychological code to absolute, unshakable courage. The core truth of this chapter is a massive shift in perspective. Fear is a misdirected stream of mental energy, and the moment you dare to face the thing you fear and substitute it with absolute confidence, the illusion of fear completely evaporates into thin air.
To see this psychological victory in action, let us look at the dramatic story of a highly talented opera singer named Luisa. Luisa possessed a voice of pure gold, capable of moving audiences to tears. She had spent years training, and her conscious mind knew every note perfectly. Yet, whenever she stepped into an elite audition or a high-stakes performance, a violent wave of stage fright would hijack her nervous system. Her throat would constrict, her breath would shorten, and she would deliver a mediocre, terrified performance. She was on the absolute brink of watching her lifelong dream slip away in total failure. She was desperate. But her breakthrough moment happened when she stopped hiding from her panic and chose to understand her mental mechanics. She realized that her fear was simply her conscious mind letting negative suggestions slip past the gate. Right before an audition, she would find a quiet, dark dressing room, sit deeply in a chair, and completely relax her physical body until she entered a peaceful, drowsy state. She would speak directly to her own mind, commanding the little, fearful ego to step aside. She would say out loud with absolute authority, "Look, you cannot block me. The infinite power within me wants to sing, and it will flow through me flawlessly." She did not just say the words, she vividly imagined the audience erupting into a standing ovation, flooding her nervous system with the profound relief of a triumphant performance. She did this for several days. When she walked onto the stage for her next major audition, the fear was completely dead. Her voice soared with unprecedented power. She landed the leading role, and she launched an international career. Her effortless mental command had completely vaporized a lifelong phobia. This incredible breakthrough is possible because fear is governed by precise laws of suggestion. There are 3 foundational principles to the anatomy of courage. First, you must recognize that almost all fears are completely artificial and learned. When you entered this world as a tiny infant, you were born with only 2 natural fears: the fear of falling and the fear of sudden loud noises. Every other fear you currently carry, whether it is the fear of public speaking, the fear of financial failure, the fear of rejection, or the fear of closed spaces, is an artificial piece of software that you accidentally downloaded from your environment, your parents, or past negative experiences. Since these fears are not part of your natural hardware, you can systematically uninstall them from your subconscious mind whenever you choose. Second, you must understand the great psychological law which states that if you do the thing you fear, the death of fear is certain. When you run away from a phobia, you are telling your subconscious mind that the threat is real and powerful, which actually locks the fear deeper into your nervous system. But when you consciously and deliberately march directly toward the thing that terrifies you, you completely disrupt the negative feedback loop. You prove to your engine room that the monster has no teeth. The moment you take action in the physical world while maintaining a calm mind, the illusion shatters and absolute confidence takes over. Third, you must use the law of substitution to actively reprogram your emotional frequency. You cannot fight fear with anxiety or anger, because fighting an emotion only focuses your attention on it, making it stronger. Instead, you must immediately replace the blueprint of fear with the blueprint of courage. Your subconscious mind cannot hold a thought of terror and a thought of victory at the exact same time. By choosing to fill your inner screen with the emotional feeling of success, protection, and safety, you starve the fear of its psychological oxygen, forcing it to wither away. To immediately claim total psychological dominance and eliminate any fear blocking your current success, you must master the courage mirror technique twice a day. First, identify the single greatest fear that is currently holding you back from making more money, scaling your business, or dominating your industry. Clearly isolate this mental enemy. Second, isolate yourself in a completely quiet space right before you sleep or the second you wake up. Close your eyes, slow your breathing, and let your body go heavy and completely relaxed. You want to enter that floating, highly receptive, drowsy state where your analytical watchman goes completely offline. Third, activate your internal freedom screen. Do not picture the struggle of quitting or failing. Project a high-definition movie of absolute triumph onto the screen of your mind. See yourself executing the task with flawless precision, absolute confidence, and total charisma. If you are afraid of public speaking, see yourself captivating the room. If you are afraid of financial ruin, see your bank accounts overflowing with wealth. Repeat a short, powerful phrase over and over like a soothing lullaby. I am filled with divine courage, confidence, and unshakable peace. Feel the profound relief of victory wash over every single cell in your body, and let that emotion saturate your engine room. Remember this golden nugget. Fear is nothing more than a shadow in the mind, and shadows have zero power to harm you the moment you choose to turn on the light of absolute faith. Now that you know how to conquer your deepest fears and step into a life of unshakable courage, the ultimate destination of your subconscious journey awaits. How do you maintain this explosive energy, sharp intuition, and boundless success over the long haul? How do you stop the physical clock, defeat the illusion of old age, and keep your mind and body radiantly young, vibrant, and alive forever? In the final chapter, we will unlock the ultimate secret to keeping your spirit young forever, giving you the final key to absolute mastery over your life and destiny.
Imagine looking into the mirror and watching the steady tick of the calendar clock with a deep underlying sense of dread. Society has conditioned us to believe a massive, terrifying lie that once you hit a certain age, your value expires, your brain slows down, and your physical body must inevitably decay into uselessness. We treat aging like a slow, painful countdown to the end line. But if the number of years you have lived determined your vitality, every 80-year-old would be bedridden, and every 20-year-old would be bursting with energy. Yet we see 90-year-olds running marathons and writing masterpieces, while 30-year-olds are completely burnt out and spiritually dead. The staggering truth is that old age is not a flight of years, it is the dawn of wisdom. Welcome to Chapter 20, the grand finale of the power of your subconscious mind. Today, we are unlocking the ultimate secret to keeping your spirit young forever and conquering the illusion of time. The core truth of this final chapter will permanently liberate your soul. Your subconscious mind is completely ageless, timeless, and infinite, and you remain radiantly young for as long as your inner mind is continuously programmed with growth, curiosity, and purpose.
To see this timeless power in action, let us look at the profound story of a high-level corporate executive named Arthur. At 65 years old, Arthur was forced into mandatory retirement by his company. He was handed a golden watch, congratulated on his career, and sent home. On paper, he was set for life financially, but psychologically, he was in a state of absolute crisis. He felt discarded, useless, and completely irrelevant to the world. Within just 12 months of retiring, his physical body began to rapidly break down. He developed chronic joint pain, his memory started to slip, and he looked 10 years older. His conscious mind had accepted the toxic suggestion that his life was effectively over, and his subconscious engine room was simply executing that blueprint of decay. But Arthur's breakthrough moment happened when he attended a lecture on mental science. He realized with a jolt of pure clarity that his mind didn't have a retirement date. He decided to completely rip up the old script. At 67 years old, he enrolled in a university to study international law. He completely ignored his age and threw his entire heart into learning. Every single night, he relaxed his body and told his subconscious mind, "My mind is expanding, my memory is flawless, and my greatest contributions to the world are happening right now." Within a few semesters, his physical vitality returned.
His skin cleared, and his eyes radiated an explosive new energy. At 72, he passed the bar exam and launched a highly successful consulting firm, helping young entrepreneurs build businesses. He didn't just stop the aging process, he reversed his psychological reality. His ageless inner spirit had completely conquered the calendar.
This incredible transformation is possible because life is entirely governed by 3 unshakable laws of timeless psychology. First, your subconscious mind is an eternal entity that knows nothing of time or space. It is connected directly to the infinite intelligence of the universe. Your heart does not count the years it has beaten, and your subconscious does not care what year is printed on your birth certificate. Sickness and mental decay only occur when you allow your conscious mind to dwell on thoughts of weakness, loneliness, and decline. If you continuously feed your inner mind with thoughts of love, joy, peace, and creative vision, your subconscious will automatically project those exact youthful qualities onto your physical flesh. Youth is not a stage of life, it is a state of mind. Second, you must understand that retirement is a psychological trap if it means stopping your personal growth. Many people treat retirement as a license to do nothing, sitting on a couch and waiting for the end. This is a fatal mistake. The moment you stop learning, stop setting goals, and stop reaching for a higher vision, you are effectively telling your subconscious mind that your work is done. Your inner mind will immediately begin to shut down your vital energies. You must never retire from life. Retirement should simply be a glorious new beginning, an opportunity to pursue a new passion, launch a new venture, or master a new skill that you never had time for in your youth. You do not grow old, you become old by refusing to grow.
Third, old age is the ultimate psychological leverage. When you reach the later chapters of your life, you possess something that no young person can ever buy: a massive, priceless reservoir of wisdom, experience, and emotional maturity. You are not declining, you are accumulating value. The world desperately needs the guidance, the stories, and the strategic insights of seasoned minds. You must view your senior years as the golden harvest of your lifetime, a period where you lead with inspiration rather than frantic hustle. When you embrace your wisdom with pride and confidence, you become an unstoppable force of nature. To immediately activate this ageless power and ensure your mind and body remain radiantly young forever, you must master the Ageless Spirit Protocol every single day.
First, completely banish all age-related limitations from your vocabulary and thoughts. Stop saying things like, "I am too old to learn this technology," or "my body cannot handle that anymore." Label those thoughts as false suggestions and cancel them immediately. Second, right before you go to sleep tonight, enter a state of total physical relaxation. Close your eyes, slow your breathing, and let a wave of deep peace wash over your body. Third, deliver a powerful, unshakable decree of eternal youth to your subconscious engine room. Repeat these words slowly and with deep feeling. I am young, radiant, and full of boundless vitality. My mind is continuously expanding, my memory is sharp, and the infinite intelligence within me is renewing my youth right now. I am stepping into my greatest years of wisdom and success. Feel the profound joy and energy of a completely ageless soul flooding every single cell in your body, and fall asleep inside that absolute victory. Remember this ultimate golden nugget of the entire journey. Your life is a continuous, beautiful stream of infinite expression, and you will remain forever young, wealthy, and successful for as long as you keep your subconscious mind anchored in the eternal currents of growth, love, and divine purpose. You have now unlocked the complete 20-part master key to the power of your subconscious mind. You know how to erase poverty programming, heal physical illness, conquer your deepest fears, download historic ideas overnight, and command your reality with absolute psychological sovereignty. The treasure house within you is officially unlocked. The software is in your hands. Go forth, rewrite your code, and dominate your destiny.